Welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because we're going to unpack something that is so deeply ingrained in our modern lives. Honestly, most of us don't even realize it's happening. We're talking about the hidden psychological costs of modern ambition, hustle culture, and that relentless pursuit of social success. We all want to achieve, we all want to be recognized, but today, we're looking at the shadow side of that drive. We're going to break down exactly what happens in our minds when our goals are constantly measured against literally everyone else's.
Have you ever felt that your success wasn't truly yours? Seriously, I want you to honestly ask yourself right now. Do you frequently measure your achievements against your friends, your colleagues, or people in your broader professional network? You hit a huge milestone, and instead of just celebrating, you immediately look over your shoulder to see where everyone else is standing. It's exhausting, isn't it? If you've ever felt that subtle, lingering sense that you're just benchmarking your entire life against your peers, well, you are absolutely not alone, and you are exactly who this explainer is for.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the engine of ambition.
So before we can actually solve this problem of constant comparison, we have to understand the engine that powers the whole thing. To give us a framework, we can look at a really fascinating concept from a traditional astrological perspective. It's a placement known as Rahu in the 11th house. Basically, this placement is strongly associated with an intense, burning desire for material gains, broad influence, and expansive social reach. It represents a core condition, like a foundational craving to just be seen and to accumulate influence within really large networks. Now, whether you follow astrology or not, this perfectly encapsulates the exact psychological archetype we see so often today. The person whose ambition is completely tethered to how far their social reach extends.
When that desire for reach takes over, it creates an absolute obsession with recognition. Public validation, follower counts, awards, titles, visible markers of success, prestige, promotions, blue check marks. Suddenly, these external, highly visible markers feel unusually, almost dangerously important. We start checking our follower counts, counting up our public validations, grabbing for awards and titles, frantically looking for the next visible marker of success, just to prove to the world, and honestly to ourselves, that we're actually getting somewhere. It becomes this exhausting blur of metrics that literally dictate our daily worth.
Which brings us to part 2, the shadow of comparison. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it highlights a massive challenge. The true struggle here isn't necessarily the ambition itself, it's managing the psychological effects of constant comparison. Think about this for a second. Seeing others achieve something can become a powerful motivator, sometimes even more than your own intrinsic goals. So what does that really mean? It means your ambition is no longer fueled by what you actually want to do or what genuinely brings you joy. It is fueled entirely by social comparison. You see a colleague get a promotion and suddenly you want a promotion, not because you actually want that job, but just because they got it. Your own internal compass takes a total back seat to the powerful reactionary motivation of just trying to keep up with everyone else.
And that traps us right here on this never-ending treadmill of the comparison cycle. Step 1, you push hard and you achieve sudden gains. Step 2, you experience fulfillment, but it's entirely temporary. It lasts for a day, maybe a week if you're lucky. And then step 3, the inevitable happens. You look around and you find a new comparison target, someone else who has just a little bit more, and the cycle starts all over again. Man, it is incredibly difficult to ever feel truly satisfied when your achievements only bring a fleeting temporary relief before the next target inevitably pops up on your radar.
Moving right along to part 3, the social minefield. And this brilliantly illustrates how that internal exhaustion eventually spills right out into our external lives. I mean, how does this rapid success and constant benchmarking actually impact the people around us? Well, when we're obsessed with gains and social reach, networking for advancement takes priority over genuine connection. The line gets super blurry between people you care about regardless of their status and strategic alliances that, let's face it, only exist to further your own advancement. It becomes absolutely crucial, yet incredibly difficult, to distinguish a true, genuine connection from a relationship that is strictly tied to opportunities.
Because of this intense drive, you might actively draw highly driven people right into your life. You're naturally drawn to high-achieving groups. But look at the dynamic this creates. Everyone in that group is quietly competing for influence and prestige. You're surrounded by ambitious friends, which, hey, sounds great on paper, but in reality, it creates an environment where competition is subtle, but ever present. No one is explicitly saying it out loud, but everyone is quietly vying for the top spot, constantly measuring their gains against yours.
And here's the really painful reality. Friendships may occasionally contain unspoken jealousy regarding money, popularity, career growth, or social status. When you achieve rapid success or sudden gains, it certainly attracts attention and admiration, for sure. But it also attracts hidden resentment from those exact same ambitious friends. The envy is completely unspoken. It gets pushed right under the rug, but trust me, it's there. That is the social minefield. Your success, when viewed through this warped lens of constant comparison, can actually end up isolating you from the very people who are supposed to be cheering you on.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Part 4, Defining Your Own Success.
Okay, take a deep breath because we are officially moving out of the minefield now. We've seen the traps, we've seen the anxiety, and we've seen the jealousy. But first, we have to recognize that this drive for success isn't inherently evil. If you have this psychological makeup, this really strong desire for influence and social reach, there is an ultimate benefit. The potential upside here is that you possess exceptional skill in navigating networks and opportunities. You know how to build a network, you know how to spot a strategic alliance, and you absolutely know how to advance. The goal here isn't to destroy your ambition. The goal is to harness this incredible networking skill without falling victim to that toxic comparison trap we just outlined.
So the crucial point is this: we have to break the loop. This is the long-term lesson of everything we've looked at today. Step 1, you must actively move away from external comparison. Just stop looking at the follower counts and the job titles of your peers. Step 2, shift toward personal metrics of fulfillment and achievement. What actually makes you feel fulfilled at the end of the day, completely independent of anyone else's opinion. And finally, Step 3, you must learn to define success completely independently. You take that exceptional skill for navigating opportunities we just talked about, but you apply it only toward your own intrinsic goals.
So I leave you with this one final thought. Whose definition of success are you actually chasing? Are you chasing what brings you true fulfillment? Or are you running on a treadmill built by the expectations and subtle envy of the people around you? It's time to take back your ambition, define your own metrics. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and I strongly encourage you to take some time today to figure out exactly what your independent success looks like.